joining me today. I am Danielle Walker from Against All Grain. Today we're going to make grain-free and nut-free chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets are undoubtedly a staple in many American households. The kids love them, and so do the adults, if we're being honest. But most of the ingredients in the store-bought ones are less than ideal. So what we're going to start with is our chicken. I found that my son likes ground chicken better, so I do a mix of ground white meat chicken and ground dark meat chicken. If you don't want to do ground chicken, you can definitely just grab chicken tenders and cut them into chunks and use the same batter, not a problem. So we're going to add just 2 tablespoons of chicken stock. I find that this helps keep the chicken nuggets really nice and moist, especially if you are going to be freezing them. And then about 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Now make sure you use sea salt so you get those trace minerals. If you are using table salt in my recipes, you're going to want to do just a bit less because it's a little bit more of a fine grind. Things will be a little bit too salty if you don't. And then just my 2 seasonings here are ground mustard and garlic powder. We're just going to do about 1/4 teaspoon of each. Now I also have my oil heating up over the stove. I like to use palm shortening. It's free of trans fats. If you get an eco-friendly source, then you can make sure that you're using a sustainable source like Tropical Traditions is a great one. It's also more affordable, so it's a great frying fat because then you're not wasting the expensive things like ghee or tallow or things like that. But those will work as well. Lard, fresh, pastured pork lard is great as well. So that's heating right now up to about 350, 375 to be able to deep fry. And depending on the size of your pot, you just want about 2 inches or so of oil. So I'm just going to mix this chicken together here. So I have 1/2 cup of garbanzo bean flour. And then I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of arrowroot starch. Now this is just going to help those get crispy and also help that batter cling to the chicken instead of dispersing in the pan. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bit of baking powder. Now I make my own so that it stays grain-free, but you can also find some baking powders that use potato starch instead of cornstarch. That would be a good option as well. And then we'll just do a pinch of salt, about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon is good. Mix that all up. Next, we're going to do 1 egg, and I'm just going to whisk it quickly before adding it. Throw that in the sink. Okay, put that right in the middle of the dry ingredients. And then this next ingredient is sparkling water. So I came up with this because I used to love beer battered chicken or beer battered fish, and the beer actually helps make that batter have a lot of air bubbles in it, which helps things get crispy, and that's just because of the carbonation. So the sparkling water came in because of that. Can't use beer in kids' products, first of all. Second of all, most of them are not gluten-free. So the sparkling water kind of helps do the same thing. We're just going to mix that in just until it's all combined and those lumps of flour are gone. You don't want to over whisk it because then you'll lose those air bubbles. All right, and it should just be about the thickness of a pancake batter. Perfect. And that'll thicken up a little bit as well as it sits, which is totally fine. Just gonna check our oil temperature here. It's looking pretty good, and turn it up just a tidbit. Okay, so when I first started making these, I painstakingly shaped each chicken nugget to look exactly like those store-bought ones that I used to buy my son. Not only is it messy, but it takes way too much time. And so I have since switched to using a cookie scoop. It's fantastic, makes things go a lot faster. I use it now for my meatballs as well. So I just fill it a little bit and kind of make sure that there's no chicken sticking off there. And then I just drop about 8 or so in the bowl at a time. And we'll work in batches to coat these and fry them. So I'm just going to turn these chicken nuggets to make sure that they're nicely coated. And just pick each one up with a fork and kind of gently tap it against the bowl to make sure that all the batter, extra batter, is dripping off, and then you'll just gently put them into the oil. Don't drop them from too high up, or the batter's just going to kind of fling outwards when it hits the oil. I like to put the fork just ever so slightly into the oil to drop them in and kind of turn them into the... Okay. So every time that you put a new batch in, your oil is going to decrease ever so slightly in temperature, so just make sure to keep an eye on that thermometer and then adjust the temperature as needed. You want it to stay somewhere between about 350 and 375. Or if you're eyeballing it, those chicken nuggets should sizzle and bubble and puff up almost immediately when they hit the oil. Okay, so we'll let those ones go for about 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll keep working away over here. All right, this last batch just finished up, so I'm just going to remove them and let them cool on this tray with the others. Asher should be home from school any minute, and he's going to be really surprised to find these as an after-school snack. Normally they're saved for a bit of special occasions like dinner and his lunchbox. But my favorite time of the day is when he gets home and he can sit on this stool and tell me all about his day, because I miss him when he's gone until 3 o'clock. It's a new thing for us, and it's a long time to be gone from him. Perfect. Now I'm going to pop the rest of these in the freezer just on this tray, and as soon as they're frozen, I'll throw them into a Ziploc bag so that I can keep them in there. There's some reheating instructions for you in the recipe, which you can find on my blog, Against All Grain. So while I wait for him, because I love these every bit as much as he does, especially in this paleo ketchup, Mom's going to have a little snack for herself. They're so juicy and tender inside, and the outside is crispy and salty and perfectly flavored. I think that the adults will love these every bit as much as the kids. You can find this full recipe on my blog at againstallgrain.com, along with hundreds of other grain-free and gluten-free recipes between my blog and my cookbooks. If you liked this video, please make sure to hit the red subscribe button below so that you don't miss any future videos. Also hit the thumbs up or leave me a comment to let me know what you'd like to see next. You can find me at Against All Grain on all social media platforms, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Otherwise, I will see you next time in the kitchen.